In view of the prevailing situation in West Asia, Indian Embassy in Tel Aviv has advised Indian nationals in Israel to stay vigilant and adhere to safety protocols as advised by local authorities. The embassy has requested them to exercise caution and avoid unnecessary travel within the country and stay close to shelters. The embassy has issued 24/7 helpline numbers to contact the embassy in case of emergency. You can see these numbers on your screens right now. These are Israeli numbers in Tel Aviv, where Indian nationals can get in touch with the Embassy of India in Tel Aviv. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar expressed deep concern on widening conflicts in West Asia. He emphasized the importance of communication to end the crisis and asked the concerned parties to move forward in that direction.
We are very much concerned at the possibility of a broadening of the conflict, not just what happened in Lebanon, but also, I referred earlier to the Houthis and the Red Sea. And, to some extent, anything that happens between Iran and Israel. So, again, it's one thing to be concerned. I'm sure you can say that for a lot of countries. If, as part of that concern, you can end up doing something about it, again, don't underestimate the importance of communication in difficult times. If there are things to be said and passed on and passed back, I think those are all contributions that we can make, and we do.
And to discuss the crisis in West Asia, I'm joined by Yashwardhan Sinha. He's the former senior diplomat. Thank you, Ambassador Sinha, for joining us. Let me begin by asking you the question that everybody is asking. What will Israel do? Will it retaliate? And if it does, how and when?
Well, thank you very much for having me. I think that is the million-dollar question, really, because I don't think we can, sitting here, second guess what Israel is going to do. All that one can say is that the matter has escalated. We are at an inflection point, and Israel is unlikely to take this lying down. Given past precedents, there is likely to be a retaliation. Now, all that we hope is that we do not climb the escalatory ladder that could have potentially disastrous consequences.
But Ambassador Sinha, wouldn't Benjamin Netanyahu be under pressure from his domestic constituency to be at least seen to be acting?
Absolutely. I think he will act. I think we can be rest assured that he will act. But the question is at what scale the retaliation will be. Because what Iran has done now and what it did earlier in April, there is a qualitative difference. Mm-hmm. And I think the reaction in April that Israel attacked, a very limited attack, I suppose it's not going to be the same. But however, as I said, it's very difficult to second guess what the Israeli leadership will do. Certainly there will be a retaliation going by past precedent.
Okay, you've been a career diplomat, you've seen many conflicts, you'll be closely watching this conflict. You're right that, we are only trying to second guess here. But what would be more effective in your opinion? Would they be hitting the proxies in Lebanon, the Houthis, or, the Iranian proxies in, say, Syria? Or could we see them taking out key figures in Tehran?
Well, they've already been, Israel, the IDF has hit Iranian proxies. In fact, that is the reason why Iran has attacked Israel, if I can put it that way, the missile attack last night. So I think the fact that they took out Ismail Haniyeh and they've taken out Sheikh
Mohammed Deif, they've taken out Nasrallah.
Yeah. The second rung, the military leadership of the Hezbollah, they've basically decapitated the Hezbollah, and that hence the reaction from Iran. So I think hitting at the proxies, and I'm certainly they will, in fact, they're talking about a limited excursion across the blue line. If you recall that in 2006, the UN Security Council Resolution 1701 determined that the area between the Blue Line and the Litani River will be manned by the Israeli army and the UN force, peacekeeping force, UNIFIL. Now, obviously, that is something that has to be observed. So we will have to see what the IDF game plan would be as far as Lebanon is concerned. But as far as Iran is concerned, I think the retaliation is going to be perhaps more direct. Certainly, they would hit the proxies, but I think they may decide to go and hit targets in Iran. The question is, what are those targets going to be?
And in your opinion, what could those targets be? Could they be energy installations?
There could be military installations. Certainly, that would be, I suppose, top of the list. But there could be many more. And, that is where I fear that we will then be sort of treading the escalatory ladder, which we should avoid, because nobody wants a doomsday scenario where, we sleepwalk into a global conflagration.
Okay. Okay, let's talk about the Iranian attack. Ambassador Sinha, you say that what happened yesterday was qualitatively different from what Iran did in April. Why do you say that? Because, maybe 200 rockets as compared to 100 rockets and missiles that were fired yesterday. But what is the extent of damage? And there are conspiracy theories doing the rounds that were the Americans already told that, well, we have to do this?
In April, there was enough signaling by the Iranian leadership that they are going to retaliate in a limited way. There were drones involved, countries, of course, the United States being the primary supporter, but even other countries like Jordan shot down some of the incoming drones and that were attacking Israel. This time around, I'm not sure whether there was any signaling. I'm sure they expected.
So the information that we have in public domain is that the Jordanians did intercept rockets coming in, and at least two naval vessels or destroyers of the US Navy did intercept rockets coming in.
That's true. The US certainly did. I'm not so sure about Jordan.
Okay.
But the US certainly did. And the US was very much part of the defensive. It's just not just the Iron Dome. You see the US Navy deployed strategically in that area. You have military bases there, fewer than they were before. And of course, Israel itself has been expecting some sort of attack. And that is why, but I'm not so sure about the extent of damage last night, but it appears the damage has been rather limited. And in fact, a large number of these missiles had been neutralized in the air.
Okay. All right. The hectic diplomatic efforts that are on, there is currently, even as we speak, there's a UN Security Council meeting that's on. What is your sense that how could it unfold in the coming days?
Again, I think I'm not sure whether the Israelis are going to wait for a UN Security Council resolution, because they have great distrust of the UN and they feel that the UN has been very partial against them. But the fact is that if the Security Council is able to pass a resolution without a veto, that would be an achievement. It would obviously be the lowest common denominator. And of course, everybody interested in trying and contain the situation and ensure that it doesn't escalate into a wider war.
All right. And given that America is in midst of polls, how could that affect the American reaction or the American involvement in the conflict?
As far as the US is concerned, whether it's the Republicans or the Democrats, they have been avowed supporters of Israel and guarantors of Israel in that sense. So I think irrespective of who's in power, how will it affect the elections? Of course, one has to wait and see, because I'm sure both the candidates will outdo each other in pledging support to Israel.
All right. Ambassador Yashwardhan Sinha, thank you very much for joining us. We leave it there for the moment. Thank you very much.
Thank you.